So I told y'all in last video, I was going to upgrade the lighting for this area right here. And instead of putting a light right here, which I'm probably still going to do, I decided to get one of these just to check it out. Never had one before, but this thing is just nice, man. Lights up the whole entire engine bay. Welcome back to another Hemi Boy TV video. Today, we're going to be checking the length on the push rods, see what measurement I need, and then sending those off to MMX to see if they have my push rods in stock. Hopefully they do, which would be pretty nice. I watched the video, they said they have all different types of push rods. So in this little, I guess you would call it a vial, I don't know, in this little cylinder right here, there is a measuring tool. Basically, the only parts that I need from this push rod measuring kit is the exhaust push rod and the intake push rod. Intake push rod is always going to be smaller than the exhaust push rod. Basically, how these work is you unscrew this, let the spring do all the work, tighten it down when you have your rocker arms tightened down all the way, fully torqued with the sequence, and these are going to measure your push rod length. Because of this spring, it's going to do it all automatically. This thing right here works so good. I've seen it in so many different videos. So many different people actually say buy this push rod measuring tool right here. So we're going to try it out right now. I already have the rocker arms, the rocker shaft already bolted in. I was trying to do a little bit of testing to see if different Gen 3 Hemi push rods actually work on it, but they do not. They are too short on both ends, except when you have one of the cylinders pushed up. That push rod to be in the perfect position, but other than that, it doesn't really work that good. Pretty sure these push rods are 10 millimeters, not push rods, but rocker shaft is 10 millimeters. Hopefully it is. Yes, it is. Supposed to do a little sequence with these too. You're supposed to go the middle, right? And then you go to number 2, which is the one right on the left of that. Then you go to number 3, which is the one on the right. Then you go to 4 is the far left one. Number 5 is the far right one. I got the intake side rocker arm off right now. Here is the push rod measuring tool. I'm gonna be putting this in, right? I'm not going to unthread this, loosen it any kind of way for right now, because I wanna actually see if this thing will fit in there without having to undo this. I'm just gonna loosen this little Allen key right here and see if the spring puts it in place. Once it's tight enough to where I can't really turn it anymore, you should be close to torque spec. That's tight. Number 3, that's tight. Number 4, that's tight. Number 5, that's tight, almost. All right. As you guys can see right now, I have a lot of play in that rocker arm right there, so gonna have to adjust that push rod a little bit to get it right on the money. All I'm gonna do is with this Allen key right here, hopefully you guys can see it, I'm going to get that in there. Jesus Christ, I'm at an angle. I went ahead and locked that little nut right there, if you guys can see it right there, that little nut right on the side of the push rod. Went ahead and locked it. So I have my position, and now you can see my lifter is really hard to push. And that's what it's hitting on, is a lifter down there. So this is at full length right now. One thing I forgot to mention is make sure the engine, the first cylinder, is top dead center when you guys do this. Once the exhaust push rod starts to come up, then you measure the intake. Once the exhaust push rod starts to go down, then you measure the exhaust. So that's kind of the gist of how I interpreted it, and I watched a couple videos. That's how they did it. So that's exactly how I did it. Now, if that's wrong, we'll find out when the new push rods come in. That'd be unfortunate though, very unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure that's how you do it. I hope it is. It's looking good right now. This is intake side. And I mean, I don't have nothing crazy going on right now. It looks way better than these right here. I don't even have the intake push rods in on these ones with. So this one right here, you can tell that one is in a little bit weird position, but these should be good. I'm gonna go ahead and measure the exhaust side push rod, see what I get, and then I'm going to go ahead put them on the caliper and see what measurements I get. Hopefully this is very accurate, because I'm gonna do it multiple times off of camera, and I'm gonna write the numbers that I get down, and hopefully the numbers come out good. Trying to get these the best I can without having to come in with the wrench first. That last one is always the hardest one to get, because the rest, once you get the rest tight, the last one is always going to be the good one to get. Literally, as I'm recording this video right now, the brackets for the intercooler pump just came in. So I'm gonna pause the push rods just for a little bit, because I'm at a very great point right now. Both of them are in there, both of them are tight, and both of them are good to be measured. So before I measure the push rods, I'm actually install this bracket. I'm gonna have to step it up all the way to about that size right there. These little brackets are pretty nice. So we're gonna go ahead and put those on right now. My little Harbor Freight light takes batteries too. And guess what I just got? A pack of batteries. Oh, we're back in business. Oh my God, it's bright right in my eyes. Now we can see everything. That's where I'm gonna mount it right there. Right along this edge right here. Here, this is exactly where I want this pump to be. About this area right here. Think about right there is good. The coolant line could come up from right here and then snake through right here too. I think that'll be a good place to mount it right here. Let me see. Make a hole right here, right in this little area. Yep, that's about good right there. Now that I have the hole drilled out right there, I'll be able to put the riv nut in. It took me a little bit of time, but this is how it's going to be mounted right here. And I actually secured it right up there with some zip ties. One big zip tie, one long zip tie, just to keep it a little bit stable. So that's exactly how the coolant pump is going to be going. So both of the lines can be routed fairly easily. One to the heat exchanger, over to the supercharger. There's going to be a return and a feed line going to and from the supercharger. So all in all, it's pretty simple. Heat exchanger is mounted, pump is mounted down there. All that supercharger needs now is a coolant manifold for the back. Then the coolant lines could get routed throughout this thing. Back to the push rods. This is the intake push rod right here. This is the digital caliper that MMX sent me. Let's go ahead and see what this measurement is on this push rod. 6.7025 inches. I think that's a little bit bigger than the actual stock push rod. For a stock Eagle, I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is. It measures out to be 6.5660. So that's a pretty big difference, especially for a push rod. And I still have to factor in the preload for the lifters. These are non-MDS lifters out of the 6.1 Hemi. So hopefully this will be pretty good. And I'm pretty sure I measured that intake push rod perfect too, because I actually put it in, measured it, put it on the caliper a couple times, and I got the same answer every single time out of that intake push rod. So I'm pretty sure the intake side is good. I'm gonna go ahead and measure the exhaust side now. Just took out the exhaust push rod, about to measure this thing, and given the intake side was just a little bit bigger than the stock Eagle push rod, I guarantee it's going to be the same thing on this push rod, but we shall see. Yeah, this is crazy. Just a little bit bigger than the stock Eagle push rod. That is 7.8960. Man, I'm telling you, this is why you guys need to measure your push rods. This is why you guys should go through the hassle learning how to measure, just like I am right now with you guys. This is literally the first time that I've ever measured a push rod. Went through forums, went through videos. Now I'm doing it all by myself. So if I were to run these stock push rods, which might just be a little bit off, I'm just going to get a crazy ticking sound the whole time my car is running. And once I get the high RPMs, I'm going to have some issues. Bent push rods. This thing right here, I just bend, right? So we're going to see what this push rod length is and see how much off my measurement is from stock. It's not that far off, but it is off by a little bit, and that little bit could cause a lot of issues. Right now, this thing is at 7.8070. That is literally not a lot. I could probably run this push rod in that car, but then again, I do not want to take the risk, so I am going to get a full set of push rods. Now that I have both of my measurements though, I can go ahead, send them to MMX, get my push rods made, and that is literally the biggest step that I have at this point is measuring the push rods, getting the push rods, putting them in, putting the rocker shafts back in, yada, yada, yada. You guys get the gist of what I need to do. That's literally the last major step. The next most expensive step that I need to get is the valve covers. You literally cannot find a set of valve covers. You damn near have to find them OEM. Can't find them on Facebook Marketplace. And if they are on Facebook Marketplace, you're going to be at the mercy of whoever's selling it, because most of the time they want to sell the whole entire engine instead of just selling the valve covers. That's the same thing with any of the Hellcat parts. If you need a part off the supercharger, buy the whole supercharger. So you're at the mercy of the seller at that point. So you have no choice but to just try to find them on the internet and pay whatever the seller on eBay is trying to sell them for, or you're at the OEM price, which is just outrageous for a brand new set of valve covers. Those valve covers for the left and right side valve covers, they could cost you as much as $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 even when you're buying them from the OEM manufacturers. Or like high horse performance. And I don't know if MMX sells Hellcat valve covers anymore. I know they have their billet option, but that's probably the next step that I have. On top of everything else that I actually got in the mail, I got these little fittings from my fuel system. These are the little bars that go to the quick connector that's right in the engine bay that comes from the fuel pump. These two are attached to my fuel rail so I can feed them into an AM fitting. This is a little conversion that I got right here off of Monkey Fab Garage. This thing is pretty nice. It adapts right to the fuel connector to an 8 AM fitting. Same with these. These are 8 AM fittings, and they're going to work pretty nice. They're going to be E85 capable, and the fuel line that I got, which is 2 feet, is also E85 capable. This right here is a male to male connector, so I'll be able to do a couple other things with the fuel system that I plan on doing. All that's going to be in another video though. I don't want to make this video too long. I mainly wanted to show you guys how to measure push rods based off the knowledge that I found in forums and on YouTube and MMX's videos, stuff like that. Other than that, most of this stuff is done. Had to take some stuff apart for right now, but hey, at least we know now that you cannot run a stock set of intake and exhaust push rods on this sort of application. You guys must buy new intake and exhaust push rods, custom push rods. I know it seems daunting at first, and it did to me because I've never done something like this, never measured push rods. So, hey, first for everything. Now you guys know how to do it. Hopefully this video was informative. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a beautiful day. I'll talk to y'all beautiful people later. Bye.